startups. We will have 5. But if there is any one of you who is ready with his presentation, you still have a last-minute chance to join this workshop and get a unique opportunity to get the feedback. So if there is anyone, feel free to let us know. At this point, I would like to introduce Faraz from Founder Institute, who will tell a bit about their program. After that, we will invite Raya from Gründer Academy that will shortly tell about their online accelerator. And after that, we will give the floor to Jimmy that will introduce the program for today. Thank you.
Thank you, Rahul. So Founders Institute, what is it? Easiest way to describe it is an accelerator program. It originated from Silicon Valley, from Adel Resi. He's one of the founding partners with Elon Musk. He's worked on several projects. So basically what we do in Oslo is we take people with great ideas, passion, obsession with stuff, and we put them in a program, and we help them discover their passion, meet the right people in networks, and take their idea from just a fantasy to an actionable company. So we've done 2 cohorts, and we have had over 12 graduates, 12 companies. Some of them will present today, and some of them you'll probably see in the news and media and impacting the world positively. So I would first like to thank Jimmy for taking his time to be here today. And Jimmy's, we've known Jimmy for quite a while in this scene, and he's got a really nice, inspirational, good talk coming up. So I hope you all enjoy it. And also, if anyone wants to know about Founder Institute, contact me or Sarah in the back of there, holler at us, and we can put you on a new email list, and you can receive information about the next graduate program. So, Jimmy, all yours.
Raja first.
Oh, Raja.
So my name is Raya, and I'm very happy to be here amongst friends. It's a small community in Oslo, so it's really nice to see all of us growing and supporting each other, and this is what we're doing tonight. So there is Founder Institute, there is Oslo International Hub, there is me, there's Jamie who's here to teach what he's best at, one of the things that he's best at. And there is really no competition between the incubators. If we want to grow, we grow all together. And actually this is one of the concepts of Gründer Academy. The online accelerator program we are launching on the 20th of May. So who has a company here? Who already has users? Or clients, or paying clients? Who wants to start a company, a startup? Who knows exactly what to do, when to do, how to do it? Who has figured it out? Nobody, right? We never figure it out. It's a journey. So at Gründer Academy, we are launching a 1-month program where we are bringing many great experts and investors from our network. We brought 6 investors on board. Let's see if it works. Perfect. So Gründer Academy is an online courses, community and coaching, allowing you to turn an idea to a profitable business. We're very focused on helping you get sales traction, getting paid, getting money at a very early stage, even at an idea stage, because you can sell an idea. You can get sales traction from the start without even having a product. While building your product, you can get users and get clients. So this is what we want to teach you. We provide you with contract templates, business templates, exercises provided by our network of consultants, investors, experts, other entrepreneurs who have done it before, who are building companies, who are growing companies. These are some of our contributors. We have 2 lawyers with us. We have Jörn, startup director at Oslo Business Region. We have Matt Smith, the unicorn, who's actually not only running his own company, but also an expert in investment. In startups, we have XY01, a branding company, marketing company, and investment company. They have clients such as Kongsberg or big hotel chains as well as startups. We have here Catapult, who's with us teaching about how to price your softwares. Escalon on business modeling, pricing models as well. Startup Migrants, Maria Amelie is an expert in PR, helping you reach out to journalists. When is the right timing to get PR exposure? How to get PR exposure? What's the point of having PR exposure? We have also another consulting company, an investment company in startup, Iterate. The founder is giving a 1-hour module on MVP and go-to-market strategies. And we have Sean Percival, investor and CMO at Appirin. And we have Startup Wise Guys. They have a fund, they're based in the Baltics. And he is coming to teach pitching. So these are people from our network who are providing knowledge. It's recorded videos. Actually, Albert, who's here, has helped us a lot with many modules to record the modules. So the way it's structured, we're launching modules twice per week during 1 month. Module 1 on Monday, Module 2 on Wednesday. On Friday, you're invited for live Q&A sessions. We're launching in May. We have 5 spots for startups for free. This is the first program. We want to give a few spots for the startups. So if you are interested in joining us, not only meeting other entrepreneurs online, but also getting access to consultants, to investors, to knowledge, to contract templates, to document, to exercises, how to build a branding strategy that helps you sell. For example, that's module 1. Please, it's easy. You go to Grunder Academy, and grunderacademy.com. You register now, and tonight I will have access to your emails, and will send you directly an email so you can get access to the course on the 20th of May. It's 1 month intensive, and you really know we're really focused on helping you get sales traction and get the right strategies from the start. And after 1 month, you're ready to fight and face the world. Thank you for your time.
Okay, thank you, Raya, for introduction of amazing accelerator. And now let me pass the floor to Jimmy. Welcome. Thank you.
I had the world's best grandmother. She was the kind of woman that would cherish anything you did. Even if I called her about football, she still don't care about football, I'm sure of it. But she was also the first person I called when I scored a goal, when my team scored a goal, or when I had anything to share, because she supported me because I was me. She saw me for the person I was, positive and negative, and supported that. I grew up on the countryside, and being a very unique child, she might have been one of the only people that supported that where I grew up. Being different in Norway, especially on the countryside, as for the Norwegians in here, know that that's not necessarily the easiest path in life. So I was heavily bullied as a child for my entire childhood. And then, suddenly, at the age of 13, I found myself sitting in a tree. And I was sitting in a tree planning how to end my life. Not if, but how. I was considering to drown, but then I figured out that I was a swimmer, so I would probably fail at drowning in the same way I was failing at life. I was a burden, and in my own life, everyone around me would have a better life if I left. Luckily for me, the solution I came up to was jumping. And again, I'm from the countryside, so there's no tall place to jump from. Again, luckily for me, it's not Denmark, but it's close. So I figured out Oslo. That's the place to go. If I go to Oslo, I can succeed at one thing, in leaving this world. But that gave me some leeway to wait. And suddenly, I remember that my grandmother, she would not be very happy if I succeeded in that one thing. So she, luckily again, saved my life at that point. Looking back at the way my mind was working at that moment, I was convinced that I was a burden to the world, meaning that if I had succeeded, nothing that I have done after that would have happened. Not to me, not to the people around me, not to my family. And I would have left a massive hole in their entire life that probably would have hindered them as well to go forward. 16 million people a year try to commit suicide. 800,000 people a year succeed of doing that. And that, of course, has repercussions for everyone else. And where does this come from? I was depressed. I was in a depressive state of mind, meaning that the reality that I saw wasn't real. It wasn't objective. So even when I was in it, you could have told me anything. It wouldn't have helped, because that's what I saw. And you have more than 300 million people on a global scale that is going through depression right now. And what is the problem with that number, other than that it's huge and no one really understands 300 million, unless you're a millionaire. But the problem with that is that it's rising, and it's rising fast, and the trend is rising. And on the opposite of all the other challenges that we're facing, it is rising faster among young people. This is the one challenge that is not going to die with the new generation. This is the one challenge that is going to get worse with the new generation. And what was the problem for me when I was sitting here? I felt alone. No one understood me. It's kind of ironic, isn't it? When 800,000 people succeed and 16 million people a year try, and 300 million is depressed. That's not being very alone, is it? So, that is why, after going through several of these challenges in my life, also shattering my spine and being partially paralyzed, and losing my grandmother at a very young age to cancer, which is of course the most common life challenge of them all. All of us have lost someone that has been dear to us and that has given us mental health challenges in life. Grief can ruin your life if you don't deal with it in a good way. Right? So, to avoid anyone ever being alone again, we created what Pavel is going to show us through his technical abilities, the world's first digital life experience library, where we have interviewed people from all over the world, like myself, that has shared how they managed to overcome their toughest challenge and what they have learned, and offered it back to everyone for free. So let's have a look at the movie. You can take it in widescreen mode for you. Or that no one understands you. Or if you feel your struggle is too small to share. So did we. But out there, we found people who understand you.
My life's toughest challenge has been between being myself and being who everybody else wanted me.
It has been dealing with disappointment and not feeling like I achieved what I wanted to achieve.
That I felt the same, or been in the same situation as you.
Pressure I put on myself to save the world.
We found out that my son at 13 was diagnosed with cancer.
Being born as an orphan in extreme poverty.
But they have managed to find a way out of it.
I just started from a point and it went from that point slowly. I just had to start.
Friends, family, support, and facing my fear head on. I think that's what it was.
Because hundreds of people from more than 75 countries have shared their toughest moments in life and been vulnerable so that you can connect. Imagine if you could access a person who could share that with you from anywhere in the world at any time you needed it. Now you can.
What I've learned during all these years is that you are responsible for your life.
Det jeg tenker om meg selv, det det som egentlig spiller en rolle. I learned to trust people.
Because hundreds of people from more than 75 countries have shared their toughest moments in life. They have shared how they managed to find a solution and create a new normal for themselves. In the world's first digital life experience library, the human aspect. So, what are you waiting for? All that's left is for you to explore thehumanaspect.com and find the stories you connect with. Thank you. Because the big question is, why are we so eager to hide away our life's toughest challenge, put it in a chest and under the bed, right? Never talk about it again. What is the point of having gone through all of that trauma if you don't bring out the one thing that would make it all worth it? The lesson. The one positive thing you can take from any life challenge is what you have learned and how you have developed and become the person you are today. Why me? And why would it be sad for the world that I would have committed suicide? Because I have been the main interviewer of this project, and I've had a natural ability since I was a kid to get people to open up. That is a naturally born ability that I've had, that I have developed and been lucky enough to have been supported to become good at it. And without that, this specific project would never have happened. And of course, together with the fantastic team as well. But why am I sharing this? Because this event is not about me, it's about the startups, and it's about you. Because we are so eager when we pitch to share all the things that we have seen on a sheet of paper. All the things you have to have in your pitch. No matter if it's 3 minutes, 7 minutes, 8 minutes, 10 minutes, 20 minutes. We're supposed to have all these things, right? But in the end of the day, the people sitting here that want to invest, they invest in you as a person. Because in Norway, we are extremely naive in these places, our personal opinion. Believing that we can change the world, believing that we have the idea that will survive in the jungle of the world where we have entrepreneurs killing each other for ideas. Then I want to know that you are the person with the right abilities that will succeed. Because if you're telling me you have the only idea that can solve a problem, then you're either unintelligent, you didn't do your research, or you're naive. Because there's guaranteed someone that has had a similar idea that has either failed, never tried to start that company, or that has not been on Google yet, right? So, that's why this is about the human side of it. That's why I started with this story, because you now, hopefully, if I did a good job, believe that I will stop at nothing to succeed with this project, because I know what it would have meant to me to have this product when I was there. And that story is also possible to find for a logistical solution, or a technical solution, or an IT game. And it can also be super capitalistic, the idea. But if I don't believe that you're the right person to lead your team and to lead that idea, I will never invest in you. No matter if you have the best idea in the world, or if you deliver the best pitch in the world. So that's what this event is going to be about. They're going to pitch their normal pitch. I'm going to have a couple of minutes with them out there and change something quick. And this is not magic, so obviously there's going to be minor changes, but hopefully you will feel the difference. And then you can decide yourself if you believe that the person standing here pitching is the person that will succeed. That is the goal of today's session. And that's what I hope that you guys will learn from it as well, even though you are watching. Because this goes for you as well. The big question is, why you? And are you the right person to pitch it? You might be the engineer that's brilliant at creating the actual solution, but are you the person that should stand on stage and talk about it? Because that's obviously also an ability that you can learn, yes. But the absolute best at being on stage are the ones that are naturally drawn to it, that love it, and that do it a lot. So that's also a question. Sometimes the founder should sit there, and someone in your team brilliant at sharing the idea should sit here. And when the technical part comes, they step aside and they say, Pavel, please present the technical part of the idea. Small tip there. So, let's start to listen to the people that we actually came to hear. And then we will do the live session like we said, normal pitch, feedback, and then they do the pitch straight again. So you will see and experience the difference, hopefully. So, welcome to the first pitcher. Who is that, Paul?
First will be Holocene and Kjetil Hermansen.
Hello, I am Kjetil Hermansen, founder and CEO of Holocene. So we're working on floating waste energy. So just to make an introduction, so this is figures from World Bank. Currently the world is generating 2 billion tons of waste. And if we go in the same direction as we're doing now, we will have 70% more waste in 2050. And of course, some of you might know already that we are facing issues with not managing this waste in a good way in many regions of the world. So we are looking to target coastal communities that has limited space with this solution. And we will have a floating power plant that will convert waste into electricity and use the byproducts of heat to produce fresh water, as this is also a product that the world needs more of going forward. And we are part of Marine Recycling Network, and we are doing here a pilot. This is called the Thousand Island. It's outside of Jakarta, together with other startups and companies from Norway. We are piloting technologies and in cooperation to provide a whole value chain. And now, the rest of my is not loaded, but yeah. So our business model is going to be a tipping fee, sale of electricity, and the use of the byproducts to as the heat to sell electricity and water. And obviously the electricity market is quite huge, but we say that we're in a new market called floating power plants. So we have a bit of a competition overview here. So many of them are focusing mainly on wind, solar, renewable energy. And we have some that are based on fossil fuels, and there's some that are basing themselves on nuclear power. But Holocene will see here to use the waste to produce local energy and to solve the local waste issues. So we've been a part of the Founder Institute program, done quite a bit of market research in 2018. And we are now a startup member of a business cluster called GSE Ocean Technology, which is a cluster of subsea and ocean space companies. And we're cooperating with my former university called University of Tromsø and SINTEF. So my background, I'm a process engineer, and my team also consists of other engineers and people with business background. So yeah, we are an early startup now. We're looking for other people that are interested in solving this issue, and focusing mainly on Asia, as we believe that's the area with the biggest problems with this issue so far. So thank you so much for your attention.
I wasn't sure I was going to say anything, but anyway. Often in this house, we open events with saying two words. We say, welcome home. You know why we say welcome home in this house? Suggestions? No. Because now there are a number of faces that haven't been here before. And the reason we say welcome home is very specific. Because if you are not only Norwegian, you may be part Norwegian or Norwegian passports or whatever, but if you're not only Norwegian, we would like to invite you to feel that this international house is a part of home for you. In a professional sense, of course, and all of that. So this is not Oslo House of Innovation or all these good fancy words. It's International House. It's a place for people that are not only Norwegian, whatever that means. I lived abroad 13 years in 6 different countries, then returned to Norway, so I'm not only Norwegian now, and I'm very, very important to me that I'm not only Norwegian anymore. And so we want this to be essentially a club. People that don't necessarily fit in that Oslo West A4 I'm only Norwegian mold, but where that starting point was, why don't we make a club where we help each other, like all those that went to NTH and FNU or whatever these BI schools are called. So that's essentially the starting point of this house. So it's not, per se, it's not a house of innovation or startups at all. It's a house of expats and repatriates, like myself. Now, it happens that very many expats and repats don't get the job they should have. We're at a disadvantage of the labor market, and several of you are Nordic, so you guys have to recognize that. So the starting point was, well, if we help each other as a network, as professionals, get the job, get the connections, get the investment, get whatever, well, maybe that is actually valuable to all of us. And that's what this house is. Now, a few of us are then starting our own companies because we don't get the job we should have. And then we can say, well, then this is a good home for if you do your own company, because it's a home for Norwegians and non-Norwegians that start their own companies and do their own businesses. That's sort of a short version of what this is. Was that sort of understandable?
Yeah.
Do you feel a little bit homey about it now?
Yeah.
Do you feel welcome? That was the idea, right? So welcome home, we actually say and we mean it. And now, what does that mean, concretely? Yes, we want you to know there is something called International House. This is a little bit yours. That's important for us. Because it was made for expats and repatriates. Now, when can you interact with this yours if you don't need an office? Well, if you need an office or hot desk or part-time hot desk, we obviously offer that. But we also have events like this one, together with good partners. Together, many events here. We also have our own fixed events. So every single Friday, 3:30 to 6-ish, we have International Lounge, Friday Mingle, which basically means, pop by, bunch of people, maybe something to drink, mingle and talk business. Think of it as a chamber of commerce, especially for the small business space or startup space, and people from all kind of parts of the world. It's probably the best place to hunt sales agents if you want to sell to, was it Jakarta was up here? Or if you want to sell somewhere. And that's what it is. So it's a community of international professionals. There are several in Oslo, that's great. I wish there would be many more. And our vision is very simple. I started with saying, if you're not only Norwegian, if you are not Oslo West, if you have not gone to exactly those schools, then you're typically at a disadvantage in the labor market, right? Disadvantage. So what's the vision? Is it to be on par? No. The vision is that when you're international, whatever that means, then you're not on par, you're better. Because then you have something to offer. If that means that you can do exports to Paraguay or Zimbabwe, maybe, I don't know. But you have something to offer that the average Norwegian doesn't. That's the vision of the house. So concretely, going forward, every single Friday, welcome back. But you should check the Facebook page on the same day. Because if the weather is nice, we might just take the whole crowd and go out sailing instead. And you're of course welcome. So we have been up to 5 sailboats on a Friday afternoon, go out sailing together, fill them up with people, and some people bring something to drink, and that is just very, very nice. So that's an open invitation. Come by Fridays. Check our Facebook page, because if we go sailing, we typically start at Aker Brygge at 3:30. So if you come here at 3:30, maybe we're down there. Check our Facebook page if the weather is nice. Join us sailing, or join us here out in the garden, or in the winter time we're here. And yes, there are some private parties, and yes, there are some other events, and yes, there are some tours. But be part of the thing. And yeah, what did I forget to say, Albert?
I think everything is said already. Yeah.
Exactly.
Welcome. Friday is amazing, so you're gonna get good network.
And come, of course, 17 May. Every 17 May, the whole international club, which is the one organizing Friday, is organizing a barbecue out here. I think it is from 12 to 4, circa at least. 400 or 500 people coming by, all internationals or internationally minded professionals. I am sure you will like it. So if not before, see you 17 May or this Friday, and enjoy the rest of the event.
Thank you.
So, before Mr. Hollesen will come back, I will go through a couple of steps that's based on science as well, on why we're doing the changes we're doing. Science shows that the first 30 seconds up to as much as 90 seconds of when you're talking, the people sitting in the audience do not pay attention. Anyone was like, yeah, that's right. I don't remember what you said in the beginning. So, saying important things in the beginning, meaning that you will lose out of the opportunity of them remembering that. So what I am doing when I'm presenting, I am trying to control the feeling that you have. I want to control the feeling that you leave this room with. I want you to be inspired with what I'm talking about, and I want you to be curious. I don't want you to tell you all the things that I know. And Jörn can probably confirm this. You will never get $1 million investment from a 3 or 5 or 8 minute pitch. There will be several meetings, obviously, after that, where they will go through all the information and budgets and God knows what. So you don't have to put everything into your slide and your pitch. You just have to get the investor to be curious and come up to you after and say, hey, we need to have a meeting. And you take it from there. So leave out the most important things for the end, because then all of you have decided if you like me or not, if you're interested or not in what I'm talking about, and then of course if you're an investor, if you are curious or not, and potentially want to make an investment. So that comes to the end. Fun fact. So back to you, then please try again.
Okay, yeah. So, imagine if you're living on an island and going through a day, but it's not really any solutions out there to recycle your waste, and a lot of products are really not made to be recycled today. And obviously, being on the island, you have limited space, so if you keep piling up the trash, it will eventually make a huge trash mountain. So going through university, I saw a lot of people talking about this issue with plastic waste coming into the ocean, and I feel like the last years it's been really a build-up in the interest of people in this, but really not really a lot of solutions out there to, especially for coastal communities and islands, to manage their waste. So that's actually what we're working on in Holocene. So again, to go through this, the world generates 2 billion tons of waste, and this is from World Bank, and if we still continue doing what we're doing now, it will be 70% more waste in 2050. So it's not really a long time, and already 8 million tons of waste is ending up in the oceans every year. This will have consequences for tourism and fisheries and other related industries. So we're targeting coastal communities, obviously with limited space and close to the ocean, so it's also a huge pollution factor. If it's a wind coming in, the plastic will potentially blow into the ocean. So we're working on a floating power plant that can be stationed at the location that the coastal community have. We will take the local waste that has energy content and convert that into electricity, and use the waste heat to produce fresh water, as that's also a product that the world needs more of. Together with other Norwegian startups and companies in this space, we now have cooperation with Thousand Islands. This is outside of Jakarta, Indonesia. So this is the Thousand Islands. It's not Thousand Islands, but it's like an island that they want to develop as a new Bali. So they're struggling a lot with plastic waste and other waste problems. So together with other companies, we are working together to have a whole value chain. And Holocene will also be a part of this. So our business model will be waste management, sale of the electricity generated, and sale of byproducts. We'll mainly focusing now on fresh water. And we're in a space called floating power plants, which is a new industry, I would say. Many different technologies, but we're focusing on waste to energy. So I'll just jump over the competitors. So we've been a part of Founder Institute program now last winter, and done quite a bit of market research in 2018. And we're a startup member of GESE Ocean Technology, which is an ocean technology business cluster based in Bergen. And we have a letter of intent with the University of Tromsø and SINTEF. Team members consist of people with PhD and MBAs that are passionate to work on solving this issue. So we're now looking for others that are interested in solving this issue with us, co-founders and other people that have relevant backgrounds, or potential investors that want to try to put some of their money into making a solution that might make the world better. So my name is Kjetil Hermansen, I'm from Holocene, so if you feel like this is interesting, please feel free to contact me. Thank you so much.
Not done yet. What do you think?
Better.
Obviously not magic, like we're saying, but the things that I said to him in the beginning was what I basically told you now, that if you say your name and what you do in the beginning, no one is going to remember. So if you start with the story, and even this can have a story. Obviously my story is linked to a product that's so emotional and so mental health. So that's a little bit easier, to be fair. But to find a story of why you're willing to be an entrepreneur should be easy. Or my conclusion to you is find something else to do. Because if you don't know why you're doing it, you're not going to succeed, because it's going to be a rough road, right?
Yeah.
So as long as you know why, which you answered me in a few seconds, right? That is what you should present in the beginning, when you are still fiddling like, who is this guy? Or who is this girl? That's on stage. And I told you as well, you're really good at presenting something technical very quickly. I understood it very fast what he was supposed to do. Island, problems, boat. Okay, they recycle the waste, you create energy, and also fresh water. It doesn't take a very smart person to realize that this is going to be very successful if there's no one else out there that is doing the same, right? And I asked you to remove the competitors one. The reason why I did that is if I was sitting here, I would be very concerned again of anyone telling me that they're ahead of competition for a technical solution. Because the second you hit the market with that, or someone finds out that you have sold something that can potentially take a huge chunk of the market, and they're bigger than you, and they've done the same. That's basically the story of Amazon, for example, right? So if you're saying that, basically you're saying we're a unicorn, I wouldn't invest. But if you're saying that you are aware that there's potential here, if we are first in the market and we take a big enough part of the market, meaning that Amazon will basically just say, hey, there's not enough money in this, we will leave it. Then I will believe in you. But then you're potentially also looking for a much bigger investment, because taking a big part of the market takes normally a lot of money. You're creating a boat, right, or a ship. So it's not for free.
No,
so that's why this is also important to be honest, because investors, there are a lot of things, but they're not dumb people. So they know these things. Right?
Yeah.
How did it feel?
A bit nervous, but I think it was very nice to have this practice, and I think starting with story makes maybe a better connection. So I have to see if I can try to implement that in pitching and go forward. So as you see, people will lose the basic of what you want to say. So yeah.
And also Kjetil did something very un-Norwegian of him. He is sick. And I've seen him before, so I know that he's normally even more energetic and his voice is maybe a little bit more powerful as well. But he didn't say very smart. Because I'm already telling you that, hey, I'm here, but I'm going to perform mediocre. That only works in Norway, right? Mediocre, everybody's like, yes, great. But at a pitching contest, then you basically set the bar here. That means you're not going to get higher than there. So if you're sick, no one cares because you're in a competition, so then you're just unfortunate, and then you perform as well as you can. And then no one knows you're sick. So maybe they will be like, oh, you're brilliant. I love your voice, it's so comfortable. And it's sexy, you know. So that's personally very smart. Maybe you can tell the arranger which you did, but don't tell the crowd, because they don't know. Fantastic. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thanks so much.
Next one, we will have also Kjetil from Nordic Health Professionals.
Kjetil. And we were joking about the one spot, and you don't need a presentation, even if it's a 1-minute pitch. If you want to present your idea and this unique opportunity, and then get some feedback from me, and then come back and do it again, this is for you and your training. So don't be scared of doing that. That will actually be a fantastic opportunity to just get feedback, and also from...
I would like to have that.
Perfect. So then you will be the last one after this. Sure. So now you have the golden opportunity of taking all the notes, right? You will be perfect. Very brave. Good. Ready?
Almost.
Jimmy, one question.
Yeah.
If there is, because such a pitching contests appear quite often. In your opinion, it is good if it is possible to be as a first, second, or as the colleague sitting right here, because on one hand, I will make all the mistakes, or I will be able to avoid. On the other hand, investors might get tired after another, let's say, boring pitch.
You mean, I'm not sure if he's still here. My colleague, he asked me that before I was doing like a really, really big talk. And the two people coming after me was like really famous speakers in marketing. And he asked me, he's like, are you Are you nervous that no one will remember you, right, when you're done? And then
and then you started to be nervous.
Yeah.
No, luckily it went well. But the point is also it's up to you. I saw that as a competitive opportunity. I will make such a good impression when people are fresh at mind, they're ready, and people like go straight into a story. And it was like full-on storytelling session, big stage and screen and all that. So they probably remembered, or we got the feedback that they remembered more me than the others, because the others they have seen on YouTube. They've heard them before. It was basically like a little twitch of what you've seen 5 times already, right? Some people here went to see Michelle Obama. They were quite disappointed. Not because Michelle Obama isn't good, because your bar is here. And she was maybe tired that day, so she was below the bar. The bar for me, when you've never seen my face, is down here. So I can basically do a little skip, and then I'm like, yay, you're like, whoa, he was good. Especially if you perform quite well on stage. So it's up to you. And also last, if you're last, use it as an opportunity and play around with it. Do the Eminem. Like
or
say,
as a first,
I'm last.
There is a unique
It's up to you.
Yeah, sure.
If you're last, you can just say, I know you guys are all tired and you want to leave, so I will at least ask you to listen to me because you have no choice anyway. And then you can have a little laugh with it and at least they will pay attention. But to be honest, I don't think it's just an excuse. If you're last or if you're first, if you're good, you're good. If I want to invest in you, I will figure that out anyway.
Thank you.
Yes.
Yes.
Nordic health professionals.
Yes, thank you. Nice to be here. And this is a huge crowd, much bigger than I would have expected. Tell me, how many of you knows a little bit about migration? You either may have migrated or, yeah.
We're in the Oslo International Hub. You listen to you, everyone's here from somewhere.
Right? So, you will know one thing about that, it's not very easy. And I've traveled a lot, I've lived in several countries, and even so, maybe my biggest migration, my greatest leap, was to leave the work world and start my own company. And that was also a kind of migration that wasn't easy. And I did that about 20 years ago. And I haven't looked back, obviously, because I don't like to have a boss. So, Nordic health professionals, what do we do? We work in health in several ways. I'm going to pitch one of the projects today. And the problem that we're trying to solve here, it's hard to migrate to Norway. One of the reasons is paperwork. You have to know all the rules and you have to know what rules to look for. And that's very hard when you're not in Norway, or if you don't know this. And if you're going to establish yourself here as a professional, then we're talking about work migration. So you don't know anything about the market, and you don't know anything about the culture. So, which means that even if you can get the visa and you get here, then what you're going to do? You're alone. So we're trying to solve this with a one-stop consultant service, which will help you, or the person coming from a different country, with everything they need from before they apply for visa until they have their kids in kindergarten in Norway. So everything. So, of course, visa application, that's phase 1. Without the visa, you won't get here. So that's the first part. We help them with all the correct data, we help them make business plans, have an address that you can use for the visa application. And then, when they get here, we find a place to work, or if they want to be self-employed, we fix them up with what they need. We find a place to live when they land, and we can also help with long-term if they want. And of course, we are then guides through the Norwegian health system, the social system, everything, so they will find out what they can get here and what they need to do. The target market for this, at this stage, is China. And the people we're going to help are Chinese health professionals with a bachelor or higher degree, because those are the ones who can apply for the specialist visa. And in China, where there are many people, the middle class is exploding. It's really hundreds of millions migrating from lower class to middle class. And these people who then take a longer education, many of those are unemployed. The biggest group of unemployed in China are the ones with a higher education. And they're not very well paid anyway. So basically, their wages could be around a fourth of what you'll find here. And they will have some backing from family or otherwise, so to get paid help to migrate, for them it's very easy and a very small investment compared to what they will get if they work in Norway. So, we are aiming at the TCM therapist as a traditional Chinese medicine, like acupuncture and that area, and also nurses and doctors. They are in demand in Norway. Yes, who are we? I am Kjetil Prestesæter. I've been working in the health area for like 20 years. I founded my own clinic 19 years ago. I founded Norwegian Massage Association 6 years ago. We have 650 members. I actually studied system development and programming. I've been a web developer and online marketer for 22 years. And yeah, I have this bachelor in media studies and computer science. I'm combining all this in my work. And my partner, she's not here today, but she's Chinese. She's a double bachelor in nursing and TCM. And she's very well connected in China. She has lived in Ireland, she lives now in Norway, and she has founded clinics in both countries. So that's our basic background. We are looking for people to help us develop. So maybe you are one of those. Attraction so far. We have established a network of agents in China because those are the ones who will contact or be in contact with the clients. We have contacts in universities and colleges, so they will provide us with more educated people. We have detailed knowledge of UDI's requirements and all the paperwork. We have partners that work with job recruitment. We're not going to do that ourselves, obviously. Centric, they work with recruitment to hospitals and other health areas, nurses, doctors. Forenom, they provide short-term locations, living locations. So, which means, and both these work in the Nordic countries, not only Norway. So those are a couple of very practical partners to be able to land people. The revenue that we're looking for here is a two-stage income. So we charge a flat fee for our consultant work pre-visa, and then a second one post-visa. That will vary a bit according to what they're looking for, if they're going to be self-employed or if they want a job. It's different processes, and who they are. Are the TCM people, they can just come here and start working right away. Are the nurses or doctors, they would need authorization. It's a longer job, so a bit difficult. And everything is paid up front before we start the work. Everything is going via the agents, which actually collect the money. And the clients will be locked into phase 2. So if they succeed in getting the visa, then they're already locked into the rest of the package. So they can't just come to Norway and then skip us. So at this stage we are, I don't know quite the term, pre-seed, seed, I don't know, somewhere there, quite early. But we need to do some marketing in China to get the first clients. So we ask for $250,000 to do that. And this is not my expertise, but I think it's very hard to put a value on the company at this point. So we suggest to issue some kind of convertible note and then see how this develops. Now, this will obviously have to be discussed with somebody who knows what they're talking about. So, yeah, thank you very much.
So, the question to you now, are you willing to do this in front of everybody? Because the first time I just wanted to have a little potential effect of people being surprised with the difference between before and after. But now I think it could be very relevant for them to hear the feedback. And I also want to say before I continue is that this is my personal opinion that is based on the experience that I have as a tiny little single human being. And of course the people that I have learned from. So this is not wrong, this is not right, this is my personal opinion. So, like everyone else that is a founder, you should take any advice that comes your way. You should listen to it, take it in, and then decide if this is relevant for you or not. I don't know how many advices we've gotten over the time with the human aspect, but it's probably in the hundreds. Some of them has been fantastic and changed into pivots and new market areas, and some of them have just been people who didn't understand what we were doing. That goes for me as well. I saw you for 5 minutes, so there's limits to what I understand of the product, right? So take it as it is as well.
No problem.
So, you started with a question.
Yeah.
Yeah? That's also a rhetorical way of starting a presentation. That can be good, getting people's attention, right? But you waited for replies. What can happen then if you're in an audience that is this size or bigger?
Well, it's a risk that you don't get much response.
Or that you get too much response, and people like chit-chatting in each other is, like it happened here, like 2, 3, 4 people started answering, right? Which is not relevant for you or for no one else. No one heard what they said anyway. So, asking the question and standing in a place where you can see people and counting to 3 in your head. Just looking at them. Like giving the people actually the time to think of an answer, but not enough time to answer you. And then continue talking. Because then you control what happens. Because you're limited on time most of the time, also when you're pitching. So they can steal 30 seconds from you suddenly. If they're chatty bunch. You're in Norway, so you're safe, right? No one is good. So, and then it's the same question for you like it is for him. I got it a little bit later, why you cared, but it took me a while for me to understand why you cared about this problem. So I would have that just after the question. I would pinpoint why you care about this. And that's obviously because you've been a health professional yourself your entire life, right? If I understand you correctly, or a big part of your life. Yes. So again, to present that story like it was you, or in the way of imagine, if you haven't worked and moved in another country, is useful. So like say, imagine coming to, or imagine living in a country with the doctor's degree and being at NAV. Right? Everyone can relate. People are like, why? Why am I at NAV when I have a doctor's degree? Am I sick? Is something wrong? People would ask questions like that. No one would assume that it's just because there's not enough jobs. Then you will say, in China, and then the percentage of how many, 20% of people with a doctorate's degree, or bachelor or higher, have no job. And here we are in Norway in need of doctors and nurses. Perfect match. And then you can present then the problem. The problem is when they come here, there's a process that they don't know. They need verification for their education, they need to get the visa, and that's why I, as a mental health professional that have worked with this for XX years, started a consultancy to help them and to help Norway to fill this demand. And then suddenly your storyline fits perfectly. And then again, you had the team quite late, and that's why I didn't understand why this was important to you before you started saying who you were. So I would move you, like I said now, and your partner to last. Because you had a very perfect flow here where you had like you're looking for, traction, business model, funding, this is like the perfect model, right? But you had a team in the middle after the problem. That disturbed me a little bit. And then you got to all these relevant things again. So if you move the team slide to last, and you move who are you to straight after the story, then the whole pitch and the storyline between the whole thing naturally flows for me without thinking like, who are you and why do you care about Chinese people, and like, you don't look Chinese to me, and then I start getting a lot of questions. That's not relevant for me listening to you. Right? So, again, a story. The question is brilliant if you just look at people, and then the risk of comparing migration, I worked for Doctors Without Borders for a few years. I've seen a lot of the migrating camps and also the countries where many of the people come from, is that if there is any migrants here, they might take it really offensive, or at least you give them the opportunity. If you compare you changing a job and becoming an entrepreneur with me walking from Nigeria and crossing Mediterranean Ocean, I wouldn't be very impressed. So that is an opportunity. I'm not saying that everyone does that, but you're leaving them the opportunity to do that.
Yeah.
So I'll be very careful with that. I would more link your story of being a mental health professional or a health professional, because that fits perfectly with why you're doing it. So I don't need you to pretend that you're a migrant for it to work for me.
No.
So I would skip that. I would share the story for why this is relevant with mom or something, and then have the nice storyline that you had, and finish off with team, but then only talking about your partner. She's Chinese, so it's super relevant, because you're not. So that means you have the perfect duo for now. Story, no question. Straight into the problem, and then you continue on with your traction, business model, funding, and you finish off with your partner.
Big slide if you want to jump to the back.
If it doesn't share.
It's possible to move it quite easily if you want. The slide as well, it's easy to move it if you want.
Yeah, we can.
Pavel can probably move it for you if you want. It's much easier.
We can just skip a little. So.
Yeah.
Sure.
Story first.
Story.
Why do you care?
Okay. Hello, everybody. I'm Kjetil Presteseter. I'm representing Nordic Health Professionals, and I've been a health professional for the last 20 years. In this project, we're working to help other health professionals, and particularly from China at this stage. Now, what is the problem for health professionals in China? Well, there's a rising middle class there, which means that more and more people are taking their higher education, also in health, and the numbers show that there's a quite high unemployment in this area. So many people are looking to move to a different country. And Norway is attractive because of economy and social services. It's hard to come here because of the visa situation. It's complicated paperwork. And even if you get here, you still don't know the market, you don't know the culture. So we are looking to help people with all this. One stop. From visa application all the way till they get here, establish themselves, get their kids to school or kindergarten. So we're going through the visa application phase, we find them a place to work, or we set them up with if they want to be self-employed. We find a place to live for them, and we help them get to know all the services and the culture in Norway, how it should behave towards clients, everything. The people we are looking to help here are three groups, basically. It's TCM therapists, nurses, doctors. Nurses and doctors, there is a need for more people in Norway. So we're actually helping two groups at the same time.
they have to go through a quite heavy authorization process. So that's a bit slow, but still it's needed. TCM therapists, like acupuncturists, they could just start working right away. So that's a faster way for us to get into this business and get paying clients. So, where are we now? We have established a network of agents in China. We have contacts in universities and colleges. So we can get the people, we can get the clients. We have knowledge of UBI's requirements and other paperwork. We have partners within job recruitment. Centric, they recruit people to the official health system. And a company like this, Fornum, they provide living quarters, apartments. So, which means when they get there, we find places for them to land. And we also have made the database system for handling all the client information. Oh wow. Now, the business model is the clients pay via their agents in China in a two-step process. First the pre-visa, then the post-visa phase. And they're locked into phase number 2 if we succeed in number 1. They pay up front, so when we work, the payment is secured. And I would like to say another thing. This is very scalable. We call ourselves Nordic health professionals, so we're not looking only towards Norway, because the health systems and the social system, everything is quite similar. Norway, Sweden, Denmark, Finland. So it's easily scalable to those countries. And on the other end, this is also quite scalable to other countries than China. So we will get contacts in other interesting areas. Could be India, could be Philippines, could be different places outside the EU. Now, at this stage, pretty early, we're asking for some money to do the marketing in China to get things going. We already have a list of interested clients, but we don't have all the systems quite ready there yet. And yeah, what will we get back? We will get some value, of course. The structure we need to talk about. Could be convertible note, could be stock. We'll talk about that later if you're interested. And I dropped this one because it wasn't there. So, who are we doing this? Well, I myself, I have been running a massage company for many years. I founded the Norwegian Massage Association. I'm also a developer and online marketeer, so this combines very well into making a huge database system for this area. And that's my education. I'm a bachelor in computer science. And my partner, she's from China. She has a double bachelor in nursing and TCM. So she knows this field very well, and she also then knows the universities. She has also entrepreneur experience. She's founded clinics in Ireland, in Norway, and she is now working on expanding her business into this project. So, if you're interested, please contact me, and thank you very much.
What do you think?
Very good.
Any specific comments that would be useful for him, potentially? Anyone with what would be good, bad? Yeah?
I like the idea which you changed a little bit in the end. Not the idea, but the point that you said it's not only based on China, but we can expand. So you open up the doors for everybody to ask you for collaboration. Things like that. Otherwise, in your previous presentation, I was only thinking, oh, it's only based on China. It's not for me.
Not for me.
Yeah.
Exactly.
That's right. Since we're now done, and I don't have to worry about talking myself down anymore, I got a message from Paul yesterday that I should bring a pitch today. So I made this pitch today, and it's the first time I've ever pitched anything. So I forgot the scalability.
So how does it feel to complete your first 2 pitches in one day?
Feels great. It's great. It's a great crowd and valuable help. Jørn?
you're asking for specific advice. So I'm a business agent, I've invested in 65 cases, so I've seen a lot of pitches. One new slide deck every day in principle. I think what you're doing, one thing is the tricks that you're coming with that I think are great. But I think that when you're speaking person to person, the biggest thing you do, and you do it well, is to be what you do, especially when it's the real first page. You smile and you're natural. And it's not something you have, rehearsed a million times, which is also good, but the connection point, you're actually speaking to me or us or whatever. It's not something you just, it comes across as natural. I think that's, I want to invest in people that are real. So I think, that's specific feedback for me.
Very happy when he confirms my point as well. Yeah, I want to invest in people. That's what he says. No, it's also true, but it's like a small, since you haven't done it before, you have all the same notes here, obviously. You were looking a lot back on the screen. This is like a tiny technical. You're losing seconds every time you turn.
The thing I need glasses to.
No worries, but it's like when you're doing it later as well, it would really help you.
I know what you mean. Yes.
Fantastic, yeah. Last.
Just a short comment. I thought it was really good and much better, but I think maybe even more like why it matters to you, like you said, and why why is this a passion of yours? I think that would be great if you just. I think the information provided was really good, and you're obviously qualified for this job, but just a little more on the passion aspect.
Yeah. Yes. Thank you. There's actually one piece that I also forgot or left out, is that for me this is not about finding work and earning money. It's actually to create a new life for these people, and this concerns me quite a lot.
Yes.
So. Yeah.
That's what you should tell us. Because believe it or not, Jörn as well, he's a human being, even though he's an investor. So if you touch his emotions, he has already decided that he's going to come talk to you, right? So it is real. He doesn't just think, especially him, he doesn't just think with his wallet, right? But you have to have both. Good person, good idea, and of course profitability. If not, you're not an investor just for fun. Then you're a donor. We were looking for that, so we're not going to steal their investors. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Can I do a short comment on the last point there?
Yep.
Because yes, you're speaking to a person, no matter how big or small or early the project is, but especially if you're speaking to an angel investor. So an investor as a venture capitalist, what are they? Their job is to use somebody else's money to invest really smart. So they're essentially employed to be very ruthless and very mean. Essentially. They're not there to be good in any way, shape, or form. But if you're an angel investor, you're speaking to one person, I'm taking my money out of my wallet, giving to you. So as an angel investor, it's, I believe, very much a person-to-person thing. So think of me as a friend, your uncle's long-lost relative, or speak to from human to human. And then the smile is by far the most important sales weapon you ever have.
And one last point as well about your second time. You were much faster in explaining your business model. Which again, remember that the investors sitting here, they're probably even smarter than you are when it comes to business. So over-explaining things to them, that will bore them. So if you just explain it like you did now the last time, where like the client is paying this, they're paying that, and then there's potential here, because they will also be stuck to us for phase 2. And like you pointed out as well, there's opportunities there for scalability, both ends. Obviously a positive impact for an investor that's looking to make money. So, and of course, like you said, if you're not from China or Norway, suddenly you have missed out on an investor. But if you're opening up for, then suddenly you might think back, the contacts I have in another country would be perfect because their degree is high. So open the opportunity. Yeah, really good.
I didn't have any timer, and I didn't actually know how long it's supposed to take, but it felt like a little bit like a lecture the first time. So I thought I'd shorten it a bit.
Time is your least problem. If you know how to do the story well and putting the pitch well, Jörn and anyone else can train you to be faster. That's just a practice. But first you need to have your story straight, and you need, of course, to have the things that Jörn needs to tick off for him to actually believe that there's something here, right, to come to talk to you. Shop on Me.
Okay, next company. Yeah, Shop on Me is one of the companies that applies through the Nordic Angel program, which is essentially a program for investors, how to become these angels, and at the same time opportunity for startups to apply for funding. So welcome, Ifat. Here is, yes, so even if you go down, you will have to change the slides.
Yeah. Hello everybody, thank you for inviting me here. And it's a pleasure to present this product here. For the first time I'm pitching in public, so I apologize if I do mistakes here. So basically it's a product of my company. My company name is Digitify, and the product we named it as Shop on Me. Why we named it as Shop on Me? Because I felt like whenever I talk to small businesses, they really need help in terms of technology, in terms of selling their product to the vast audience and customers. So I thought I should help small businesses in some way. So I just started looking up what can I do to make something for them so that they can sell and they can get more clients. So I just came up with the idea of Shop on Me, which is a kind of marketplace for small businesses, so they can sell their products and services at one central point, which is Shop on Me. So the problems basically what businesses are having right now, for example, small businesses, they might not have any website or any e-commerce platform to sell their product or service. Or maybe they don't know how to market their products or services in social media, which is really trendy right now, and they can really grab lots of customers from marketing it on the social media. And then they might not have proper knowledge of the technology and the media and everything. And of course, every business needs more and more customers. So mostly businesses are looking for like solutions where they can market things and they can sell their product or services. Similarly, on the customer side, like their customers side, basically customers don't have much more time right now in this age. For example, they really want to save time and don't want to spend time shopping. Most of the time, they prefer to have online places where they can shop, so they can save time and spend time with their family. So this is the basically problem solution fit which I was trying to solve and make a product. So these are basically the advantages of this solution. They will have a single online platform where they can sell their services, and we can equip them with the social media marketing team, and we can also equip them with the analytics of their clients. And similarly, customers can just buy things from their couch or sofa, and they can also save time and save money as well. And market validation, basically, if we think it's so theoretical, 4.3 million users in Norway are the online buyers, basically. And it generated $6.3 million in 2019 already. So the online selling and shopping is getting really famous, and people are using more and more online tools for the shopping. So the market size, if we consider for such kind of platforms, is like 4.3 million buyers are the online buyers. And only in Oslo and Akershus there are 1.1 plus million users who usually buy things from apps or technology-based solutions. And if we only try to grab 15% of it, it's 160,000 buyers already. So the product is Shop on Me. Basically, at the beginning, I'm trying to focus on a couple of businesses to test this idea. So I'm starting from health and beauty services and grocery product delivery and and some sort of digital services as well. For example, graphic designing or making solutions for the other businesses. So, and actually I'm trying to focus on Oslo in the beginning so that I can test it and then we can expand it all across Norway. And my main focus is also to help the local businesses and small businesses, basically. So the business model is basically to maybe every person can on average buy 800 or spend 800 kroner to get the shopping of anything, basically, either grocery or any service or something like that. And if we have, for example, 5,000 more or less buyers, then we can generate 4.4 million revenue as well, just by taking a little bit of commission. So for the market adoption, we try to market it by presenting it in events like this, and maybe having some other partners, like partnering up with other businesses who want to sell their products and services. And then we would also like to create some community of these customers and businesses. So at the moment, if I can consider the competitors, there are a couple of competitors, but the ones we already have is like Komplett and Elshop, which are basically the marketplace as well, who sell other businesses' products. But those are only like digital electronics and some sort of this kind of marketplace. And Finn is also a kind of marketplace, but when we think of Finn, it's mostly like selling and buying used products. I mean, it's the general impression that one gets. So Shop on Me is, in this sense, it's a bit new here. Yeah, I can use this one. So our competitive advantage is we are almost first in the market, and we are our aim is to help the small businesses and tell them more information about their clients, that at what time their clients are buying their things and how can they grab their customers, and when can they market more, and they can spend more money on social media marketing and stuff like that. So the team, basically, my Melissa, it's me, and then I have a co-founder, Vakas, and then it's a team of like some graphic designers and developers and a couple of internees as well. So at the moment, since we are at the really initial stage of developing this product, and we haven't launched it yet, but we plan to launch it soon. But there are so many problems coming in and out, so we are just hanging around at the very end of launching this product. So at the moment, we need some sort of money to market this thing and to finalize the development of this product. And yeah, that's it. It was boring, I know.
Then, of course, what we said as well, it's sometimes sad to say, but it might work in Norway to say that it's the first time and that you're not very good at it. Sometimes you can get people coming down a bit, but normally in a competition it would be very negative for the rest of my perception. Like if we're talking cognitively, my mind will expect you to be bad, and I will look for errors in what you're doing instead of just enjoying what you are telling to me. So I will specifically find mistakes that I cognitively wouldn't have found if you didn't tell me that in the beginning. That's why it's potentially not a good idea, not just because of culture. You said thank you in the beginning for being here. That is something that normally I would say not to do, but with your personality and the way that you are on stage, it works. So this is something that you need to feel about authenticity. Who are you as a person? You know, you can't be like all dominant and American and brabbling about if you're not like that as a person. So in your case, I think it worked. Like saying thank you for your attention, and maybe that will get some people to wake up. You're lucky. But then telling them how well you prepared or not, or this is irrelevant for them. For they're here to listen to what you have to do now. In that sense. You had a story of your name before I even knew what you were doing. Which means as well, now it has very little value to me, even though of course the name gives me some idea of what this is about, but still I had no idea what you were doing in the beginning. And then you have the problem together with the customers on the right side, and you came to another slide that was almost the same. So then you're repeating yourself in a little bit way. I would skip potentially the first one, because the second one I thought was better, but that's my personal opinion. But one of them should be put together. And of course, the big question is again, why do you care? Why do you care about this? Why would I believe that you would succeed in creating this? Because I didn't understand before you presented to me that you were aiming at Oslo and the beauty market. Before that, I thought like, are you trying to compete with Finn.no? Finn.no is like Illuminati in Norway, just to play around a little bit. Like, that would be impossible. I would never invest in that unless you had a brilliant solution that is just so much better than Finn, which you didn't convince me of. But when you show that you're aiming at a niche market, that's different. And then saying 50% makes at least a little bit sense. It's a bit ballsy still in a market that you have big, like Finn.no, if they figure out what you're doing and they do the same, you're dead, because they have so much traction and millions in marketing. I get Finn ads all the time on my phone. Like. So
shall I not just mention competitors?
You really need to get much faster into the niche market that you're doing. I need to realize that within 5 minutes or you lost me. Like, what market are you going into, that it's niche, and why are you here in this market, and what is your competitive advantage? Because you came in that very late, then I already had 50 question marks in my head about the entire idea. You could have avoided all those question marks if you came in that very early. Then I wouldn't be as skeptic, right? And most investors are fairly skeptic, to be honest. They have their little, like, looking for your mistakes, right? And in general, this is too much information.
Yeah.
Like,
I realize it.
Yeah, and like I said, don't underestimate the people sitting in the audience. You don't need to explain to me the digital marketing, how that works. You just touch upon simple things like social media marketing, digital ad marketing, and then everyone here has an idea of what you're talking about, without you talking into the depth of it. Unless you have a solution to do it smarter, but then it should be presented. But the most important thing is, why do you care? These are details that could easily have been adapted after, but the big question is, why should we believe that you will make a difference here? And you can find any story. Like I said, it doesn't even need to be you. You can create a fictive, imagine this, imagine that. Because there actually is, in Norway, 4 people doing within the beauty realm. Big competition. Tricky to market yourself. There's no really good marketplace for that in Oslo that I know of, at least. So you're on to something. But you should tell me that right away. Then I will be interested. And of course, this is also super scalable, because that goes for Sweden, goes for, it simply goes for anywhere. Even in the UK, I haven't seen that in the UK. I had a huge market just across the ocean. No? You have a story?
Story.
Yeah, or something from your own life that makes you care about this. Why did you even make the slide deck, right? There's something in you that makes you want to solve this problem. You have it?
Yeah.
Yeah? Perfect. So, start with a story. This is a pitch, so telling me why you chose the name, unless it's really relevant for the why. you take in the next meeting, or if someone asks you, why did you make it? It's irrelevant in the beginning. And then also when you come to the team, remember then to present yourself after. No one listens to you in the meeting. You should assume that. So then you say, thank you for me being here, which is part of your personality. And then the why. And then straight into the market that you're actually attacking here. What is the problem for beauty industry? Because Finn.no don't have a problem, and Komplett.no don't have a problem in Norway, and the same goes for Colonial. They have a problem, but it's not because of the market. So also give us very quickly beauty market, bang, and then explain what you're going to do with your platform.
I will start with my story. Why did I start it? Basically, I was just having my own facial, and I started talking to the owner of the salon that why don't you market your service on the social media so oftenly so that you get more and more clients. And she was saying, oh, I don't have time for it, and I don't know how to do it. Like I don't know how to spend money on Facebook and start social media marketing and things like that. And then I asked another question, that why don't you have your own website? And she said, oh, I don't want to spend more money on it, and I don't have any expertise to manage the solution or website by myself, because I want to spend more time on dealing my clients and earning more and more money. So that was the first initial point where I realized that it's a real problem of small businesses. And then I also talked with general people and things like that, like acupuncturists, and they also need more and more customers. Most of the time, or let's say in the morning or things like that, they're just sitting quiet. So they need more customers. So that's these couple of meetings with these kind of small businesses who are not highly equipped with the technology and knowledge. I thought I can solve this problem, maybe in some sense. So then I did the research, and I found out that having a marketplace for small businesses might be a solution to this problem.
And back into your pitch deck. That one, yes.
Yeah. So for the businesses, the problem is to get more clients and sell their products or services, and get more idea of their customers, basically at what time their customers are buying, and how their customers are spending money in their businesses. We can help them in that sense with the solution we are providing. And similarly for the customer side, basically they can save their time and money as well by buying stuff online. And of course, they can explore more things while doing shopping online instead of going physically to the shops. I will skip that one. It's not necessary.
Not this one either, so
yeah.
This is not relevant for your market, right? This is for everybody.
Yeah.
So just jump potentially to
So,
product.
yeah, so this is the solution which we are developing right now. We are, at the moment, we are focusing on health and beauty services and grocery products in the beginning. Just we have started collaboration with 3 businesses already before launch.
Yeah, could you just explain the one sentence that you're going to take a commission?
Yeah, so the business model is we will take commission from every transactions that the customer will shop for the other businesses. That's the simple business model we have. And for the market adoption, we have a strategy to launch it and then market it basically by presenting it in the events and through social media marketing, and having more and more business collaborations with other small businesses.
Competition is not relevant at the moment?
Yeah. So the advantage we have over the existing business already is that we are first in the market who are providing a solution for marketplace, especially for the health and beauty services and for the grocery products delivery at the doorstep. Then similarly, we are trying to help other small businesses to get more and more customers. Yeah, so then I have a team of developers and designers, and yeah, that's it. And we are looking for some sort of small funding at the moment for 12 months.
It's not my intention to stress you in that sense. It's just that because you're in a minefield of like questions, like when you're talking about groceries as well, it's really well established, especially in Oslo. So if you from stage were saying that you're first in market and then mentioning groceries after, I would be like, thanks. If you didn't figure out that Colonial is delivering groceries at home, then you haven't done research. But in the beauty, you are. So I would 100% focus on beauty. And then say, when the marketplace is well established and growing, we can easily, like you were saying as well, increase in other markets when your solution is functioning and growing, right? For small to medium businesses like acupuncturists and other people that are relevant, that don't have a marketplace, because there's plenty. How did it feel to do it a little bit different second time? How did it feel the second time compared to the first one?
It was actually better. I wanted to prepare this story, but I didn't. So the story actually made connection with some of the people here as well. Like people were looking at me, and I was also looking in some of the people's eye. And yeah, this there was some theoretical slides which were not really needed. I realize it now. Because when I was preparing it on my computer, I was looking for some samples, and mostly in samples it's like that. So I made it like that, yeah.
And what you actually did in your story, you basically sat with the person who explained to you their problem in like 5 seconds. We don't have the time, we don't have the competency. And meaning they will not invest in something that will grow their business, which is what they want. They just don't know how to do it. You have the solution. 30-second pitch. Right? It's actually quite simple what you're presenting, and it's very good when you present it in a very specific way for a targeted niche market.
Yeah.
This really works in that way, and then it also works your story. It's perfect. You were sitting there, and now you care because you have the competency they don't. That's why you care. That's the why. And if you play, like she said as well in the previous one, if you play even more on the emotion of this woman that you were with, and how difficult this is for her, that you will explain that she will never get the opportunity to show the services that you are very happy with. You're going back, I hope, to the lady, right?
Yeah.
That's a shame, right? It's a shame that acupuncturists is sitting around with their needles and playing flip-flops instead of actually using it on people that would need it, right? So you can actually play on emotions as well, even in such a more financial, capitalistic idea in that sense. Other than that, it's really good. Any feedback from the people?
Yeah. Start. Yeah. So firstly, when my wife was on paternity leave, she had no time to go and get her nails done or facials, and a lot of the companies, they don't have people who can come and do it remotely. So I have a huge network, and I actually managed to get a group of people who actually came to her. So I almost won Husband of the Year. And she really appreciated it. And while I was a stay-home dad for 3 months, I used to hang out with baby mamas with the trolls. And they said, oh, you have a nail polish lady. I actually have 3. So all of a sudden I was broking deals for them. So there's a huge market that you should target the moms who stay at home for 9 months to 12 months because they need it a lot. So it's a target audience you should focus on as well. I love the presentation.
Thank you. 2 hands there as well.
Yeah, I had a comment about your energy and your visuals, and I thought they were so good. I feel I know you now, and it's somehow you're making connecting using your eyes. I felt like you were visiting us in your presentation, that we got to know you. Your smile is beautiful and it's genuine. So I thought your visuals were very, very good. Well, I believed you.
Thank you. This is what you truly need for them to believe in. Kalle?
I was actually more the same, so you're getting a lot of the same feedback, but what I found was that you really wanted to help this girl. Because you were so happy and with her services, and you really wanted that to come out. And a lot of people, we have this theory that we want to find a way to help other people, but we don't know how. And you figured it out. In your story, you said, I really wanted to help her, and I have something that she doesn't. And I want to use what I know to help her. And then you had me already. And I was like, yeah, that is really cool. You're using what you know to help someone else. And yeah, and then just the visuals of the, like you said, I know what you mean. You want to give as much information as possible, but you don't need it because you're telling a story and people get it just from the images that you have. So that was really good. It was really to the point, and I was like, yeah, cool. I know what you're doing.
Are you aware of styletime.no?
Style time? No.
That is Schibsted's platform.
Illuminati, just so that we know.
And then at this point, they are focusing on beauty. So they have hair, foot, Brazilian, pedicure, wax, everything, nails, everything. And this is a huge platform for that, owned by Schibsted, who also runs film. So they are heavily into this market already on the beauty side. So I just
Is it a marketplace, or is just I mean, it's for other businesses, or it's their own business?
this is where you find your find clinics. So they have booking systems and they have all availability. You can go book directly here to hundreds of clinics. So I wouldn't compete with that niche.
Check it out. Learn. If you're better than them, you can still win. But then you really have to be better. But other than that, the pitch, niche market, great. And like they said, you as a person, that's very credible, which is at the end of the day the most important thing.
Just start it and then sell it to Finland. We can sell it to Finland after.
They're very good at finding good ideas, so that's also a good thing.
Sure. Thank you.
Thank you.
Great. How about the break? Do you agree? Yes? Maybe 10 minutes. There is a coffee machine. Feel free.
Tourism the sustainable way. We have made a really nice definition of Oslo, which is a little bit tongue twisting and really hard to remember. So I will, if you excuse me, I will read it. It's Oslo is developing a new concept of responsible tourism for once in a lifetime travel experiences that support local communities in a way that is socially, economically, and tourism the sustainable way. We have made a really nice definition of Oslo, which is a little bit tongue twisting and really hard to remember. So I will, if you excuse me, I will read it. It's Oslo is developing a new concept of responsible tourism for once in a lifetime travel experiences that support local communities in a way that is socially, economically, and the number of tourists worldwide has increased. It was due to it was caused by changes in the political structure, economical changes and social changes, as well as the fact that tourism became more affordable for more people. Just to put it in numbers, for imagination, in 1950 there was 25 million international tourist incomes or visits. Then in 2017 it was 1.32 billion, with the estimation of 1.8 billion in 2030. Of course, the mass tourism brings a negative impact on actually on the global environment and local environment, as well as the as the social social system and communities in the locations. And what is more, the traditional tourism increases quite big gap between tourists and locals, since the irresponsible behaviors of the tourists are actually very disturbing for the locals. Eddie actually made some really nice pictures that maybe he can comment.
Yes, I will kind of select some pictures just to show how the impact of tourism. The first photography there, it's a city called Benidorm in Spain in 1950, and the city of Benidorm now in 2019. So you can see how big, is the impact of tourism in our society. Also, I selected there is a big story about the Barcelona mayor in 2015, that he was talking about to take away the tourists away from Barcelona. The Guardian also published some news about naked Italians in Barcelona and in behavior related to the local society, community. You can see also down there, it's a monkey in Laos, approached by tourists making pictures of him, not giving him completely, the chance of being himself. And you can see Venice on the bottom here. Oh, sorry.
Ah!
Okay.
Wait, here.
Venice in the bottom here in Oslo with the pack boats. So that's really a big impact. So continue.
Yeah, therefore regarding all the impacts of tourism, it is more and more obvious that it is necessary to reform the tourism, the classical tourism or the traditional tourism in a more sustainable way. It is actually, it's important not only for our quality of living, it's very important for the future of tourism itself. The principles of sustainable tourism is to create a positive impact, or to actually lower the impact without actually lowering the tourist experience. So it is also to protect the nature, of course, to benefit local communities, to make tourist agencies cooperate with local businesses to encourage tourists to actually purchase local goods, to eat in local restaurants, to use the local services and products. I think it's logical that it's also to preserve cultural heritage, because if the so-called irresponsible tourism is going this way, then we will have less and less beautiful cities and beautiful cultural memorials and stuff. And the other thing is that the tourist operations has to care for quality over the quantity. This is just this is a good image of how actually should tourism work, or the future of tourism, or the tourism that we are trying to propose, is that the tourism itself should actually pay for the sustainability and should pay for the sustainable future. Yeah. Okay. Is there a consumer demand? Researchers show that there's a huge part of tourist business that is represented by aging baby boomers who enjoy their traditional way of traveling, and they are now seeking for a different travel experience. But more important is the race of, it's the point that we are now in the millennials era, and with millennials, not only tourism, but more industries are changing and needs to be recreated. It has been shown that millennials are 20% of the global tourist market, with 100 million plus, more than 100 million only in European Union, and more than 70% are prepared to pay more for sustainability. Yeah, I think that's not very important now.
Yeah. Okay, now I talk about serious things. Oslo A, Oslo A representing one idea that we can make better tourism, better for everyone, from the locals to the tourists. We can teach tourists to behavior in a nice environment. We can give them a comfort, to be on our country, our cities, without them feeling completely guilty of being here and spend the time and losing completely because they have a carbon footprint very high to take an airplane to Norway. So we have this idea of bringing them the idea of you go to make a difference. You need to make a difference by till 2030, we selected those points that gender equality, sustainable community, responsible consumption, climate action, life below water, and life on land. Then we have no sustainable tourism, we're talking about, but we're talking about getting sustainable, show people how Oslo, for example, can be an interesting city to show how development of a society can do on a city in terms of sustainability. So this year, 2019, with the Oslo become a green capital of Europe, impose us to change this character of the traditional tourism. And then we be betting in 3 different points. One of them is education. We will try to pass the message across to the tourists of being sustainable, to reflecting in their own societies, on the future. Experience, show people that they can have a different experience with the fullness in, and meaningfulness of things that you can do, that is not only making pictures and just going around the city. So we can give them experience around the city, like urban farming, like seeing the work that in Oslo we do with the bees, and giving them also bonds, of connections that they will have in the local. Because the idea of tourism is also make people have a strong bond with the locals they had, a good story to tell. So we selected, the way that we will do it. We have 4 points of products. One of them are tour, trips, partnership, and activities. And all they related to, all the activities that we have a relation. And also we do a travel assistance. This travel assistance going to be a service completely different than a traditional travel assistance, but giving people information constantly and with the big technology, information, app, website, so they can guide themselves in Norway. And, oh. Oh. Yes. Okay. No, it's just. Okay. The philosophy of the company Oslo to engage tourists who have a more authentic experience and locals who gain a deeper appreciation for what makes their place unique. That's it, and then we have our launch now starting in the new season, end of May, and that's it.
Some nice pictures from Oslo. Or from Norway, not really super
So, slaughter.
Yeah.
It's the same question for everybody. You know, it's like the big why. Why do you care? In general, it really has to be very essential to the core of why you're on stage. It's actually a question of why do you deserve to be on stage? Why do you deserve to present this idea? And why do you want us to believe that you can solve it? And kind of the main comment for this is that I think if I ask you, did you feel that this was a little bit over-explained? Yeah, I think so as well. Or heavily over-explained, to be honest with you guys. Like, in theory, you could have cut half your slides, and I would have still caught it very quickly.
Yeah.
You're explaining it to people that obviously know. We've both been tourists in other countries, probably all of us, and we've also been Oslo tourists in our own city, right? Traveling around. So we understand the point very fast. And your name is Oslo Away, so it means I expect you to be Oslo bound from the get-go. And then you talk about global statistics, and suddenly in your slide a little bit later on as well, you're talking about EU. None of them are relevant for Oslo. So now I'm confused. I'm like, are you gonna help the world, or are you gonna help the EU? Or so if I was sitting here as an investor, I'd be very, very confused of what your idea would be. And then you come back to Oslo in the end. And also, I think in theory, you could have used 30 seconds to explain to people that increasing tourism has an increasing footprint. Basically done. Then you have told me about the problem. And then you can add some numbers on top of that of how fast it is increasing. And then I would focus on Oslo, but in theory you could also then make it global. Like for example, I've been to Laos, so I've talked to the monk that you had a picture of, and I also know that his lifestyle is 100% financed by tourism. So I know that what you're saying is wrong. That you're saying that his life is worse from tourism. I know that he personally, the one I spoke to anyway, not the one on the picture, has told me that he loves tourism. If it wasn't for tourism, he couldn't have been a monk. He would be literally starving in the city that I was traveling around the whole country of Laos. And when you're saying things like that in your pitch, that's very emotional and linked to one thing. You give the opportunity that someone here has been to Laos and had the same experience like me, and then you would be like, basically you would be taken, and then your whole, everything that comes after that just falls to ground. Even though we all agree that increasing tourism is an increasing footprint, but still now in my mind I'm thinking like, why did you present that when it's positive impact for him, right? And the same for Barcelona and Benidorm as well. It looks very dramatic, but the entire Benidorm local business has boomed. If you've been around in other countries or cities in Spain as well, it's like a ghost town in many of them, because there's no tourism. People are literally starving in Spain, which today.
Yeah, but that's also the problem about this kind of tourism. You know, you kind of concentrate in one part and forget completely the others.
That's what you need to tell them.
Yeah.
Not show me a picture of Benidorm from the 50s and Benidorm now. You should tell me why that is a problem. Because if not, I will get all these question marks and I will be like, yeah, but this and this and that.
Okay.
This and that.
Mm.
So that's why I was so challenging you as well. And I was hoping that you would say that, because then it means you have a solution.
Okay.
So, in theory, to try to make it quick, why? I need to know why.
Yeah.
Why do you care? Why are you here? Why do you spend your time, and why are you going to solve it? And then I give you maximum 1 minute to explain to me why this is a problem, because everyone here will get it like that. And then after that, you need to present what you're going to do about it, because you're not going to solve it on a global scale. So having 5-6 of the SDGs as well makes no sense.
Okay.
You're going to solve it in Oslo, right? Because you're Oslo. And that I believe. Green capital, you know, then the storyline all makes sense. Same with like her story as well. Niche market, don't present the world. Present the niche market.
Okay.
So, story, why do you guys care? It can be from one of you, it can be both of you. It's up to you.
Okay.
And then present the problem, fast. And then present why you're solving it, and specifically what you're doing different.
Okay.
Because we all, I think we all know sustainability, we all know green growth, we all know these things.
Yeah, okay.
And then your pitch in theory could be done in 4 minutes and you would have investors, if you convince them. I would.
Okay.
The same for the slide with, like a good example is the one you have, slide number 1. If you go to that
Number
slide,
2.
number 3 there.
And 3.
This is a very visual example. So here, you're explaining it by bullet points,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And the next slide, you're explaining it emotionally.
Yeah.
2 different slides. Then you could, in theory, do both here. Pictures,
Okay.
3 bullet points. And you link the bullet points with the emotional picture. And then you're done. Then everyone here has figured out what is the problem. And then they're all on your page. And then, what are you going to do about it? Basically done. And of course, business model. After that, and where are you? In, like you say, you're launching next year, and maybe finish off with what is your competency, the team,
Yeah.
who are you, and what do you need from us.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think you really spent a lot of time on the problem, as you mentioned, but I really didn't understand at all what the solution was. So that's your product, right? That should be very
Yep. Try to
clear
make the
also.
product very clear, short, sharp, and sweet. Why are you different?
Okay.
In Oslo, because everyone can relate.
Yeah.
I'm sorry if I didn't catch it, but right now it seems to me that this is a non-profit project. I didn't get the business model.
You're a tour agency, right?
Yeah, tour agency.
Yes. I got that, but you can make it clear. If he didn't get it, it means you weren't clear enough.
Okay.
It doesn't matter if one didn't get it or everybody. If not everybody gets it, you're not clear enough.
Okay.
Here?
Just the last comment. I was thinking regarding the solution, maybe you could even make like a case of it. Like you said, imagine being out in the farm, something that will actually give us an idea of how you're going to solve the problem.
Yep. Came up with like a small little tagline as well. It was, the same.
Yeah,
the same amazing experience without doing it for a
This
trip.
is just some information for afterwards. You can use Boracay as a case study.
Boracay?
They closed it down for 6 months to clean it up and make it more sustainable, and now they actually have controls on tourists coming in. So they've removed smoking cigarettes on the beaches, drugs, alcohol. It's very, very tight now. I was just there last year, and that's a good case example taken from before they closed it down and now, just to see how it's affected the environment, the people. So you have to do some research, but you could apply that information how it can affect also on a larger scale.
Okay.
I have one comment. It's about non-verbal communication. I think you have lots of space here. There is 2 of you, so just go in the middle, go in front of your audience and sell your company.
Yeah, okay.
So, remember,
start with the why. Maximum 1 minute on the problem.
Okay.
Both emotional and 1 or 2 stats.
Yeah.
And we all get it. And then how you're gonna solve it as Oslo way in Oslo. And then finish off with who are you and what do you do.
Okay. So. Yes. Okay. Switch. And
first one, even before you say your name, just why you here.
Okay.
Why do you care?
Oh. Okay. Okay, my name is Ed Mendes. I'm a tour guide here in Oslo. I became tour guide here 5 years ago by accident because I have been working in events and I have been present in so many different situations here in Oslo that make me think about how we need to improve the way that tourism is made here. So Oslo Way, it's a proposal that we have, a proposal to be sustainable in terms of tour operator reception here in Oslo. So the idea of Oslo Way coming from to solve the problems of this massive, tourism, this massive tourism that became, since 1995 to now. We jumped from 500 million people traveling abroad to basically 1.32 million, last survey about people. And we have now the aim to reduce the impact of this massive tourism into our city, because Oslo can become a city like Venice that has been really a big victim of the tourism. So I select some pictures. It's very important to show these changes on our environment. I took the pictures of Benidorm in Spain because for me it's show a big impact of constructions and destroying the whole environment, because they had some forests around and some places around, and right now they are only buildings. Of course, if we think about mass tourism, that's really the problem, because we concentrate in mass tourists, concentrate themselves in some points and forget completely the connection to the other places that also need a development. So this is a picture of Benidorm in 1950s, and this is now. We have also the situation of Barcelona, that tourists and even the major of tourists trying to avoid tourists there, and also the behavior, wrong behavior of tourists in the cities, and of course the intrusion of tourism and the way people are stalker. That's very painful for some locals because they feel themselves under pressure.
Straight to what you're gonna do about it.
So that's why we came with Oslo Way as a solution to these problems. What is Oslo Way? It's a local Norwegian local tour operator, and it was established in 2019, which is actually a year where Oslo was named an European Green Capital. And it's the first European green capital, and more will follow. We are not going to finish with Oslo. Oslo is a pilot project. As a European green capitalist, we want to learn something in Oslo, and we want to apply it for other countries as well. The big keyword for us is the sustainability, but we want to go a little bit further. As we are locals and we love our city, or other locals will love our cities and nations, we don't want to only lesser the impact of the place, we want to celebrate it. We want to celebrate it, we want people to enjoy it to the max. How are we going to work, or how are we going to solve these problems? The most important thing, once I've read that there is nothing like an irresponsible tourist, there is only really wrong informed tourist. So to change the way of tourism towards the better sustainability, the education of the tourists is very important. To explain them what can they better, to explain them how harmful can be just to throw one cigarette. Because if like 1.32 billion people do that, then that's a big problem. Of course, it's that's one of the important parts of sustainability as well, and that's why we actually started with the tourist business. We don't want to annoy people with just like teaching them with ecology. We are going to maximize their experience in Oslo. That means we are offering tours, trips, and activities that are innovated. Innovated in sense that we don't want to do it like a only like classic tours, or offering just hotels and
just focus on what you're doing. No one wants to know what you're not doing.
So what we are doing, we actually we are creating some new activities that we aim, or through them we aim to introduce the local culture to people, to tourists, and also to some tours that will be as these activities, like we call it the local experience, and that will be like a classic tours, but towards the sustainability. That will be kind of like this teaching and they will have the informative mission. So the local experience is driven towards respect, towards knowledge about the culture, towards supporting the local economy and local community. And the tours are more like about the leading towards ecology, to show them what is happening in Oslo, why as Oslo became the green capital, and that many others can lead this country. Yeah, that is basically it. Yeah, and we are launching in the end of May. So if you would be interested in something like that, you can check us out on Facebook, our page, and Instagram. Thank you.
Yeah. Down. Yeah.
Yeah, okay. I still would like to have concrete examples of exactly what you're going to do. Not just learn about it, but I want to hear it or see it exactly with some of the tours. So I really understand that you are going somewhere with it. And I still didn't hear anything about the business model. You're just saying that you're a tour operator, but didn't say anything about revenue or how you're going to actually make a business out of this.
Which is okay if you're a tour operator. What you said as well, that you have statistics that 70% are willing to pay for more sustainable tourism, right?
Yeah.
That was somewhere in your
Yeah.
statistics. So that's basically your business model, saying that we're a tour operator targeting these people.
Okay.
because they're willing to pay a little bit more for a sustainable experience. Again, very short.
Okay.
But this is perfect for storytelling. You could, in theory, tell me a story from start to finish of what you can offer. You can tell me how, for example, I will join a big day and pick up plastic at the beautiful beach with the locals. Part of my tourism experience, for example. That would be a specific footprint-friendly activity. Or you could share a story of how my grandmother could then help them to learn how to cook Norwegian reindeer meat cakes, for example, at their home, right?
Yeah.
Or something. So again, it's, I think what he's trying to say as well.
Yeah,
is that
show a little bit more what we pretend to make and make the differences.
You can explain this problem in, like I said, maximum a minute, and everyone is on board.
Okay.
And then this 70%, you need a source for that to make sense.
Makes sense.
Why people are willing to pay for sustainability.
Yeah.
And then you touched upon it, why you're starting in Oslo. Because Oslo is the first green capital of the, right?
Yeah.
That's why I started.
That's the start.
Bang.
Yeah.
And then, because everybody, all your partners, would be very into doing sustainable business. That's why you're starting here.
Mm.
Because we're already the most green capital. So meaning you're starting in the wrong end, if people could be sane, right? But you're starting here because all your partners would agree and they would join you.
Yeah.
You will find hundreds of partners with sustainable friendly activities or other like boat trips or hikes or things.
Okay.
So it's like if you really make it sharp.
Sharp and more precise and
more
pointed
why.
at, yeah.
And really, really more why. I still didn't get the why for why you care about it. And if you have more care, you need to find the story which one of you has the more emotional why.
Okay.
It's really important. Yeah?
Yeah.
Specific feedback?
Yeah.
I think when you started the second time to talk about your why, your energy is in, so you obviously have a passion for it, and grow that passion, work on it, and get it up, because I could clearly see it, although I didn't get all the points, but I could. You are more present. So work on that, and when we are talking about emotions, I might be picky now, and you choose what you want to do. But when you are making these slides, be aware of what colors you are using. You are using red. What color is red? It's danger.
It's a Norwegian flag, red, blue, and
yeah,
white.
But I'm just telling. Green, yellow, blue is more like sustainable colors. Back to nature.
Especially green, obviously.
I'm just saying.
Yeah.
Because people are picking up.
Yeah.
Yes.
And are you looking for sponsors or partners, or what is exactly that you're looking
Basically, we look for more sponsors. Yeah, because with the sponsorship, we can generate more partnership.
Right.
So and make it wider than it's only us doing a service. So we can make things a bit more.
I think it was a little bit contradictory, because like with money we can make sponsors, so I think we are looking for both actually, sponsors and partners.
Yeah.
Because what we also want to do is, what we need to do, even though we are not NGO, we want to partner up to actually make the change.
Yeah.
Make something better.
Yeah, so I think that should come.
That's why you're saying it's specific as well. It's like first passion, like she pointed out very well. The one who has the most passion for the why is the one who should present the story in the beginning, because you have the luxury of being two.
Yeah.
So you can choose. And then the one that maybe knows more the details of it, then you present that. And also this could be so short because it's so easy to understand. Because everybody understands tourism, not everybody understands how to create a ship that can kind of it's an engineer, there's a reason why it takes a little bit longer to figure it out, right? So you could make it really, really short and tell me the full beautiful story of why I should choose you guys and not the rest of the operators in Oslo, because in our law, again, right, you're competing with a lot of companies in Oslo that is doing tourism, and foreign companies that brings people here as well. Perfect.
Okay.
Can I just add another thing?
Sure.
Just because I love the photos, obviously, that you make it very visual. And what do? If you're a tourist, you want to go somewhere where it's pretty, right? But again, you're selling me Oslo. Sell me Oslo. And the first slide is not even Oslo. I see that you're selling the Norwegian experience, but if it's Oslo, then I need to see that. And also tourism in Oslo has increased massively, right? And as a tour guide, I was hoping when you started, this is why, and I have seen some cases, and I thought, you must have pictures, show me the pictures of something that is happening and also that you have seen on your way. Why this is important to you, that you see the footprints that tourism has created, or pollution or something. And also, when we are supposed to be a green capital, we were just walking around in the forest the other day up in Holmenkollen, our tourist attraction #1. We could have filled 2 søppelposer, big ones, with garbage, right? So show me that. Show me where I as a tourist can come and help out. I was going and I was so angry because I thought, why is no one picking up this stuff? Engage me as a tourist in why I want to do your activities.
And for the first part, it's called a sustainable way to Norway. It's we are not aiming on I think we really explained it really badly. We are not aiming on to Oslo. We are starting with Oslo.
But it makes sense also in your storyline, right? But if you're giving me Oslo and I'm seeing something else, it doesn't make sense.
But really present small, because you're 2 people. So you have to present small, and your name is Oslo Way. So either you need to change your name, or you need to then focus on Oslo now, or you're going to be like Humans of New York. Now it's suddenly Humans of New York all over the place, which then makes no sense.
Okay.
So,
because I think the why comes Oslo Way, because we pretend to be a sort of tour operator that work basically with the escape tours. Escape tours are maximum 5 days, 4 days, 5 days, so people can just have an experience, being here for a short period of time and experience something more and better, in terms of sustainability. That's the way of we should present, I think.
Say that is perfect. That's
what you
could do. Right next, saving the world in Oslo, yes, I'll do that,
Okay. Perfect. All right.
Thank you. Next one?
Yes. I think it will be now the person from the audience.
Yep. The audience person, the brave one.
Yes. I'd like to introduce Raphael. Let's give him a hand for participating on notice.
Okay, I'll be no more than 2 minutes.
All right, Raphael, the stage is yours.
All right, 3 minutes maybe, huh? All right, so my name is Rafael Souza. I'm from Brazil, and I would like to start with a story. I have a friend who taught me that you're getting old when you see 3 signs. The first sign is that the woman that you help to cross the street is your wife. The old woman that you help to cross the street is your wife. The second sign is when you bite the steak, your tooth come out. And the third one that is more complicated is when you have a light that you have to change on the roof. You're getting old when you get a ladder, put it against the wall, climb the ladder, and when you're almost getting there, you see that you got the wrong wall. So you're getting old with these 3 things. I didn't want in my life to be as an old man who goes into the wrong ladder. So I decided to take control of my life, and in that sense I said I want my life to make sense. There's a film called Afterlife. It's a Japanese film by a Japanese director from '93. His name is Hirokazu Koreda. In this film, Afterlife, it talks about, did anybody see this? It's a film that talks about people. It's a fantasy film. In Japan, they die and they go to a place and they stay there for 1 week, and they have to remember in that week, after they're dead, they have 1 week to think about one memory of their life that is good, and they will make a film of that memory for the person. So after 1 week, at the end, the person is there and watches the film with that big one memory, and after that, the person's memory is going to be erased completely, and the person will have only that good memory forever. That's one way. That's a nice film. So my question to you is about old people in dying. So does anybody here take care of old people in old homes? Do you go and visit old people? Do you have anybody in the family that you have to visit? Right? I go every Tuesday, tonight should be that. I go every Tuesday to visit my mother-in-law. She's in a home, and she's not happy with her old life. Huh? She's getting close to dying, and she's not really satisfied with her life. So what is the problem? The problem is that there are some people who are getting old, and they go to homes, and they keep on thinking about the problems of their lives, and they don't have the chance to think about this. If they had any good memory in life or any good experience, they don't have that chance. So this is the problem that I want to help with. And I'm passionate about it because I would like people to get old and to have lived a good life. So what I'm trying to do is to solve this problem by collecting people's memories. So I want to go into my mother-in-law. I want to record her good memories. I want to transcribe the memories. I'm going to turn it into a book. And as she forgets about things that's happening to her, sometimes I go there and she asks me the same questions. Every week I go there, she asks me the same question. So I want to give her a book, and I want to give her family a book to read the good memories of Lila. So I want to record her, and I want to make books. This is what I do. I opened up a publishing company in Brazil before I came here. I was also a professor, university professor. But my passion as an entrepreneur was to open this publishing house, and I started publishing it as an independent company, and I did it. Lean startup, small company, no costs, completely online, no physical spaces, the costs were zero, and we were making money. And it was a success somehow, because after I opened my own company in the same region, 4 other publishing companies opened up, following the same business model. So I'm happy about it. Before that, there were a lot of people with ideas in their head, but no books. After I started my first business, now we have hundreds of books that were published. I moved to Norway because I married a Norwegian woman last year, and I'm here and I would like to continue my passion with books, physical books, and I would like to help the Norwegian old people to have a better life at the end. So this is what I propose. My business model is very simple. I'm going to charge the families for the books, the production of the book. So I'm going to record things. It's going to be a fixed cost. Let's say 1,000 kroner, maybe 2,000 kroner for the whole project. Ends up with the book. I can make more copies of the book. It's very easy to print digitally, new books. So this is what I want to do. Charge for that. If I get 10,000 old people here in Norway charging 1,000 kroner, then I have, what, 10 million? Or something like that, throughout the years, throughout the years. So this is my idea. This is the company that I want to open. What I need is not money in the beginning. First of all, I would like to get some feedback. Should I move on? I talked to this famous Norwegian woman. I've never known her. Her name is Ciso Gran. Ciso, she's a psychologist for old people. She gave an interview in NRK. And I went to her, she was signing books, and I said, can I have 1 minute of your attention? I have this project. And she looked at me and she liked the project. So she encouraged me to do that. So as I told you, I was a publisher in Brazil. I made my career in the financial market, both in Brazil and the US. I went back to Brazil, and I opened up a few businesses. The publishing company is the one that I like the best. So to conclude, is that I want people to have a good life. This is what moves me. I want people to have a time in their old life to think about their lives and to have some enjoyment. Maybe they could have a film like the one in Afterlife, and using my book, they could have a better end of their life. That's what I wanted to tell you. Short, huh?
Yes. Fantastic. You caught up on the storytelling at least. But you still told your name, like in the beginning.
Yeah.
Just a small thing. But the storytelling, it's not the first time you've done it, obviously, which is great. And it's, I think most people kind of catched on to the story pretty quickly. The story about the film could be relevant because there's an actual film about it, but you come back to the same point in your own storytelling. So then, and you don't do film, so then you're kind of losing the relevance of the film part of the story, like you said. And it could have been 3 minutes. It wasn't 3 minutes, but
was it longer?
It could have been. It was longer, and I think it was almost 7, but it could have been 3 minutes.
Okay.
And I think everybody likes the idea. And of course, if Jørn was here, he would still say that you're the perfect candidate because you made it somewhere else with your entire model successfully. So you're just moving the model into a new market, meaning that you, compared to everyone else that was up here, has that ability that would make probably investments come pretty quickly, just to test, just to see if it works in Norway or not. So in that sense. And online, of course, digital, everybody likes that. Minimum cost, you can add on to that. It's also good. A little bit in the end, it was close to really, really, really good. And then in the end, you came to tell us about you. Then you told us a little bit about the idea as well, and what you needed, and you came back to telling the story about you again.
Yeah.
So I would have just put that in one, because it's also relevant that you've made it into the financial markets. At least if I'm investing you, you're a business person, it means you're smart, right? In money-wise as well. There's plenty of idealistic, brilliant people out there, but they lack experience within business. That's normally why they fail. If you look into statistics, why good ideas fail, sad to say, but it's normally because they lack the more raw business experience. You have both. So that was great. The conclusion, I think you already had a conclusion, to be honest. I think you had most people on board. You didn't need to repeat the conclusion, actually, in the end, because you were good at storytelling and we believed you, both because you are older yourself, so it's about time.
Probably the oldest around.
65. So it's
from 1965, not 65.
So it's relevant, right, for you. So you're credible as well. If I told that story, I would have to tell the story about my grandmother, or no one would believe me. So why are you thinking about being old, far away? So it's great. So if you do the same again, no name, straight to the storytelling, movie, out, and then telling the story, potentially, if I were you, I would tell the story about your mother-in-law, because it's relevant.
Start with the story of the mother-in-law instead of...
And that framing that as a story of why this is relevant to you, or of course, if you have a story from Brazil, why did you do this in Brazil?
Okay.
And then I would continue on with the storytelling, and then you're good at telling the problem is the story. You can maybe add on with a few statistics, like in Norway, there's a lot of people going to homes because of the culture, right? They don't live at home, like in Brazil, it's more normal.
Yeah.
So that's why the market is much bigger here per percentage-wise. And then I would come with who I am, my background. I did this in Brazil successfully. And I married a Norwegian woman, everybody will laugh, and then you will be like, that's why I'm here in Norway. Now I will use the same business model, but I need to learn about the market. And that's why I'm visiting now an old home. I'm already explored the opportunities. And here is the business model. In the end, like you're saying, you will fixed price, bang. What I need is investments to get started and knowledge about the market. My name is Applause.
Nice.
Go.
Yeah. You said, if I heard right, that you're not looking for money at this point.
And not?
That you're not looking for money.
Yeah.
At this point. Are you? Did I hear right?
I'm not looking for money for investment, a lot of money. I would like to have a pilot first. Yeah. What I need now is people. I need an editor, and I need somebody who knows Norwegian much better than I do. I'm learning. So, and I would like to know more of the market. And
Just do the pitch and add this to the end, because you don't forget what I just said, and then we can open up for more relevant questions and feedback. I think
Okay.
there's people here that would like to help you with your ideas.
Sure. Yeah.
I have a feeling that you have a big advantage because of your Brazilian wife, exactly for this business, open heart, openness in general. And I think for this business it's very important, and it's one of your biggest advantages.
All right.
Use it.
All right.
Use it,
Brazilian
yes,
charm.
fully. Because it's a lot of loneliness, especially between old people in Norway. I think you will bring this warmth, and it will be a big. Exactly.
Good. So let me start again. Quicker now, huh? That's going to be quicker.
Yeah, and use a relevant story at the beginning and throw the film out, and then we're good.
Okay. Every Tuesday, I go and visit my mother-in-law here in Norway. She's in a home. She's not very happy for being in a home. She's not happy with the life she had. She doesn't have very good memories. I try to get her to tell me some good memories, but she never does. She always keeps on, oh, my husband left me and I had this problem and that. And I believe that as her, there are many people in Norway who are having that. And as they grow old and they lose their memory, it seems that they prefer to remember the bad experiences than the good one. So I would like to open a business that would focus on helping old people to have a better life. To have a better life. How can I do that? I can do that by talking to them, interviewing them, recording their good messages with the recorder. I don't want them to write. I will transcribe that. I will turn it into a book, and I'm going to give to the old person and to the old person's family. This is my idea. It's to create, to open up a publishing company that would focus on books for old people at the end of their lives. Of course, if as you grow old, you can start collecting your own good memories. So when you get old, you're a potential customer of me. I can get you in, let's say, 30 years or 40 years, and I'll get you collected these good memories. My business model is based on being hired for a specific project, fixed price. I'll give a fixed price for the family. Probably I'll have to talk to the family and not to the old person itself. So my customer really is the family and not the old person. And the family will have a book with the good memories of that loved ones. That's the business model. I'll charge for that. Oh, I hope that will pay. My experience with that is that I come from Brazil. My name is Rafael de Souza. I had my career was in the financial markets, both in Brazil and the United States. I moved back to Brazil when I opened up my own business, my own publishing house, my own publishing company. It was an original idea that was copied by 4 other ones. So I started a movement of independent publishing companies in Brazil. So now there are hundreds of books that never existed before, and now they exist because I tried to put in practice one of my ideas. I want to do this here in Norway, and I want to focus in the market of the old population of Norway, because I think that it increases, and it's a world trend. It's a world trend that people tend to get older as economic situation gets better. So I have an increasing market. The business could start here in Norway and increase all over the world. That's it.
Point the ball.
What do you think yourself? Second time versus first time?
Much better. Much better. But I got by surprise, huh? So I had to put the ideas now and more things.
You're brave doing it on the spot anyway.
Yeah.
So, like you said, you've done it before. So.
I consider we are recording the session, so later on if you contact me, I can send it you.
Can you give me my card?
Of the video. Of course, indeed.
All right.
True businessman.
Yeah. My card for you too.
We'll take a picture with the card? Thank you.
Thank you for the opportunity.
And then I think potentially some other people will pop up to you afterwards as well and try to help you with this idea, it seems like. So that means you succeeded, because that's what this is all about.
Yeah, I want feedback.
Curious
More than
people
money now.
that
That's
comes
what I
to you
mean.
after.
More than money now, I would like to have some feedback. Some people, if most of the people say forget about it, there is no market for that, you'll never make any money, then try something else.
we will make it.
Very lucky.
Add pictures to your book. Because old people
Yeah, I
actually
was
have
thinking
pictures
about that.
that are real pictures and not on their phone.
Yeah.
So that would be a beautiful asset to your book. That's mine. Tip from the hip.
Good.
Tip from the hip.
Good.
Any last questions before we close the whole thing in general for me? Because he will be here for questions. But for me, so that we can release all of you to either talk to him or go on.
Charge more money. 3,000 is good.